Hello, and welcome to another Lumbridge Knight guide for free-to-play OSRS. In this video we're going to cover my top 10 tips for new free-to-play Hardcore and Standard Ironmen. Calling all potential squires and knights, the Lumbridge Knight needs you. This guide is aimed at new Ironman players and specifically Hardcore and Standard Ironmen. Ultimates can definitely follow the steps, but some of the tips might be a lot more difficult or not optimised for them to follow given the bank account restrictions. Standard accounts can use the tips too, but the GE might make some steps redundant. The tips start off with early game content, building up to free-to-play endgame content / account goals and targets. As soon as you arrive in Lumbridge from Tutorial Island, speak to the Iron Man tutor and claim your free Iron Man armour. This has the equivalent stats of Iron Armour, but is about half the weight, so you'll get a bit more runtime versus Standard Iron. For now, just keep your bronze sword and wooden shield. Incidentally, the wooden shield has the same stats as the training shield, but is lighter, so that makes it superior. Not far from the Iron Man tutor, you'll find the magic and ranged tutors. Speak to the ranged tutor and ask her to turn on auto-equipped arrows. This means when you have arrows equipped, any arrows you pick up of the same type will automatically be added to your quiver rather than going in your inventory. The next thing to do is claim your 25 arrows, or 30 air and 30 mind runes. You can only claim one set every 30 minutes, so you should decide if you're going to train ranged or magic first. If you choose magic, which would be my recommendation so you can unlock the teleport spells, you need to not have any mind or air runes in your bank or in your inventory. So if you have any air or mind runes in the bank, withdraw them before dropping them. Then right click on the magic tutor and click claim to get your 30 air runes and 30 mind runes. Then just pick up any runes you've dropped. For arrows do the same, so drop any arrows including any equipped, right click the ranged tutor and then select claim to get your 25 arrows. Again, remember to pick up any arrows you dropped. Tip 2 is to fill the rest of your equipment slots. First, head into Lumbridge Castle basement and grab the leather boots you find there. Then, making sure you have at least 8 coins, head north from Lumbridge to Varrock. Once there, head into the clothes shop and buy some gloves for 6 coins and a cape for 2 coins. We're just getting these items to max out your stats early on. You can pick up the gloves for free from a few locations, one of them being Father Ernie's hut in the Lumbridge Swamp, but since we need to buy a cape anyway, it's much quicker to just buy the gloves too. As soon as you have some money, see my next tip, you should also head over to the scimitar shop in Alcarid and buy the best scimitar you can, probably iron at this point. Before attempting the stronghold of security for the first time, I would recommend getting a full inventory of food, probably something like trout. I also recommend Hardcore Ironmen do this in 2 stages. Do levels 1 and 2 first, as the enemies here don't hit very high. Then before attempting levels 3 to 4, level up to around base 20 with mithril gear. This will hopefully lower your chance of dying and losing your status. You can definitely complete SOS at level 3 with shrimps. I just recommend caution as some of the enemies in the lower levels can easily down you in 2 hits. To get to SOS, head west from Varrock, or if you are in Lumbridge, speak to the Count in the graveyard behind the church. He will check your security settings are correct, as to get the rewards, you need 2-factor authentication activated, as well as Dragex's other security recommendations. Once you pass his checks, he'll offer a free one-time teleport to the Barbarian Village. Once at the Barbarian Village, enter the hole and complete the dungeon. A link to a detailed guide on how to do this should be on the screen now, or you can follow the link in the description. For completing level 1, you will receive 2k coins. Level 2, 3k coins. Level 3, 5k coins. And the final level, level 4, gets you your boots. The reason I put the stronghold of security here and not towards the end is because if you're starting the game fresh, generating money early on can be slow, and completing SOS gets you 10k coins and a decent pair of melee boots. So it's definitely worth doing as soon as possible. Tip 4 is to focus on unlocking some transit methods. The first one of which, now we have some money, is to head to Draenor Village and buy the Chronicle of Diango for 300 coins, as well as a few teleport cards for 150 coins each. While you're here, you can also buy a cabbage cape for 150 coins. There's no stats difference, it's just a better looking cape with a comedy emote. Anyway, use the teleport cards on the Chronicle to add charges. If you then right click and click teleport, it takes you to just south of Varrock outside of the Champions Guild. This is a really useful early game teleport while you're leveling your magic. Once you get to level 12 woodcutting, you can use canoes to travel up and down the River Lum. Getting to 57 will unlock all the travel options, allowing you to go all the way from Lumbridge to the wilderness with a single canoe. Level 37 magic will unlock all of the useful free-to-play teleports, including Lumbridge, Varrock and Falador. And finally, building the Skull Scepter from Sos will give you a useful teleport to the Barbarian village, though you might need to level up a bit first, as you will need to be able to kill some of the high level enemies on the 4th level. Again, I have a separate guide for travel methods, a link to which will be on the screen now and in the description. Please like the video and support my content. Thank you, noble knight. Crafting is a crucial skill for Ironmen, as gold jewellery is probably one of the best ways for Ironmen to make money. Equally, it's also the only way to get some leather vams and the amulets of magic, defense, strength and power. In short, you should start with leather between Lumbridge and Alcarid, then once you are level 16, move to silver symbols, 23 tiaras, and then finally gold jewellery. Once you're onto the silver and gold jewellery, the most efficient method is to use the mine at Alcarid to get your ore. Once full, smelt at the Alcarid furnace, craft the items there too, then deposit them in the bank and head back to the mine, starting the cycle again. You will need some mining and smithing levels for the money making method. Again, you can follow the handy guide I made earlier. The Rune Scimitar is generally the best all-round weapon in free-to-play. Unfortunately, the only way for an Iron Man to get one is to smith one yourself, which means you'll need 90 smithing and 85 mining. So a tall order. Fortunately, you can quite easily obtain the Baronite Mace, which is a close second. Again, I have a guide on the channel, but in short, you need to complete the Below Ice Mountain quest, and then do mining, fishing and golem slaying in the Camdozel dungeon to obtain the pieces of the mace. You should also buy the rune sword, not the longsword, from the Champions Guild once you have access. FYI, the sword is preferable to the longsword due to its faster attack speed. Castle Wars is also now accessible in free-to-play. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's not particularly crowded, meaning you can go there and just harvest tickets by AFK joining games and just, well, standing around waiting for them to end. Why do this? Well, the Castle Wars boots are the best melee boots in free-to-play, and the first pair only costs 4 tickets. Sadly, the rest are not so easy to obtain, with the best boots requiring 400 tickets. So again, this one's more of a long-term goal. Don't worry though if you want to play or you get PK'd during a round, it's a safe activity, so you won't lose your precious Hardcore Ironman status. A bit of a basic tip, but completing quests and getting to 32 quest points to access the Champions Guild, as well as doing the Dragon Slayer 1 quest, is very advantageous for Ironmen. Accessing the Champions Guild will allow you to buy rune legs, addy plate bodies, green d'hide vams, chaps and a coif, all of which are otherwise unattainable for Ironmen, though I think you can get the rune plate legs from Louis' legs in Alcarid. Initially focus on getting Vampire Slayer and the Knight's Sword quest done early on, as they offer some of the best XP rewards in free-to-play. Vampire Slayer giving you 4.8k attack XP, the equivalent of going from attack levels 1 to 19, while the Knight's Sword gives you 12.7k smithing XP, which is the equivalent of going from smithing levels 1 to 29. Imp Catcher is also a good one to do early, as it will give you the Amulet of Accuracy, which you'll use until you can craft something better. Obviously, accounts of all types should seek to complete Dragon Slayer 1, as not only is it by far the best quest in free-to-play, but it also then allows you to buy and equip the rune plate bodies and green d'hide chests. There are 2 free-to-play bosses you can battle once you are around base 60 melee and 50 ranged. Obor can be accessed by farming hill giants for giant keys. The reason you want to fight Obor is that he is the only enemy in free-to-play that drops a rune kite shield, which is the best melee shield in free-to-play. So it's well worth getting if you want to avoid that smithing and mining grind. He also drops a range of other rune items, runes and the Hill Giant Club. You can access the second boss, Bryophyta, by farming moss giants for mossy keys. For her, I recommend you have 50 ranged and full green d'hide. You never know, you might get her essence, which I would recommend selling and using the money towards a bond, but you could also use the staff to benefit from the 1 in 15 chance of not using any nat runes, which is advantageous for Ironmen, as you'll want to be utilising high alchemy as much as possible. Conveniently, I also have guides to both of these. The final tip is more of an advisory. Basically, if you want to be a successful Ironman, you need to make sure you are maximising your resources and chaining tasks together so that they feed into each other. This may mean that your actual method is not the best possible XP rate, but you are creating the resources for your next task. Or you are chaining several skills together in order to achieve your overall goal. A good example would be the money making method I described in tip 5, where you are simultaneously training crafting, mining and smithing. Overall, your mining XP rate will be nowhere near the rate from just mining and dropping iron ore, but the combination overall is effective, as we are training 3 useful skills, working towards unlocking the high level free-to-play amulets, and generating money. Another example would be choosing which mobs to farm and saving all the useful drops. such as training on moss giants and saving nature runes. These runes can then be used to cast high level alchemy, which is probably the best magic XP rate in free to play, and if used on the correct items, a great earner too. In summary, plan your moves, chain tasks together into production lines, and don't waste anything. And for those of you who've watched right to the end, here are a few secret tips as a thank you. Getting runes and arrows as an Iron Man can be an issue. In essence, for all of your basic runes, you'll need to buy them from one of the 2 magic shops in free to play. Don't attempt to runecraft them, as it's a very slow skill to train in free to play. For cosmic and nature runes, you can pick them up in the wilderness, using world hops to get more, but for hardcore Ironmen, this is high risk. A better method for cosmics, natures and lore runes is to farm drops. Moss giants and ogresses being some of the best options. For arrows, farm minotaurs in the Stronghold of Security to build up a stock of iron arrows you can use for general ranged training. For steel and mithril arrows, the ogresses are again a good option. For mithril and addy, white knights and anku are probably your best options. All that said, in all honesty, it's probably just as fast to buy your arrows from one of the archery stores, the downside being it will be pretty expensive. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope that my top 10 tips for new free-to-play Ironmen was useful. Please leave a comment with any feedback or questions, as I'm keen to hear them. And all left for me to say is I've been the Lumbridge Knight, peace out, and thanks for watching.